everyone, it's Marlene. Thank you so much for joining me today. When I was watching Mandy's series on her 10 favorite blushes and foundations and concealers, I asked her, are you going to do your 10 favorite palettes? And she said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stop where I'm at. So I thought, I asked her if it was okay if I did my 10 favorite palettes. So that's where I got the idea, and I'll leave Mandy's channel listed down below in case you haven't stopped by to visit her. So I pulled out my 10 favorite palettes. I'm not going to do swatches or anything on most of these. You are familiar with them. I'll just tell you a little bit about them, and I'll let you know why they're in my 10 favorite palettes. So without further ado, let's get started. This one I'm going to cheat, the first one that I'm going to start off with it, and I'm not going in any particular order. It's not that this is my favorite over the others or anything like that. And I'm starting out with the Viseart palettes. These are absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous palettes. The shades in the Viseart are extremely pigmented. They blend beautifully. They last. There is really nothing negative that I can say about these Viseart palettes. I think that once I tried them, it was so hard for me to buy or get used to so many of my other palettes. Like, this is what I wanted to reach for all the time. I have two of them. I have the Amethyst Love, of course, you know I love this one, and I have the Theory, the Minx too. Beautiful, beautiful shades, and you have nice 3 mattes and you have 3 shimmers. If you're looking for a really nice little palette, definitely try these. They are worth every single penny. This palette has been my favorite, or one of my favorite palettes, since I took it away from Stephanie a few years ago, and it is the Urban Decay the Naked 3 palette. This is the one with the rose gold.
Rose gold? What rose gold? It's mauves and pinks. What am I thinking about?
In it, this is beautiful for a day look. It is beautiful for night. It is beautiful for weddings. It is just a gorgeous palette. You have a nice combination of mattes and shimmers. If these are colors that you like, you can't go wrong with this palette. They are so beautiful, long-lasting, blendable, and that's why it has made it into my top 10 favorite palettes. This is one of my, I've got 2 Zoeva palettes as far as eyeshadows are concerned. This is the Warm Nudes, I think it's called. No, this is the Warm Spectrum. Another beautiful palette with a nice combination of mattes and neutrals, and something that I look for a palette to make my list and a favorite palette. They have to be blendable. I don't want shades that I have to sit there and blend for a long time and that the colors don't match. I don't want my shades to be patchy, as I'm sure you don't either. And that is something that I have found in these palettes. They wear for a long period of time. You could apply them in the morning and you don't have to worry about your eyeshadow disappearing in a few hours or throughout the day. You can wear them for a long period of time and your shadows are going to look beautiful. And this is the Zoeva, and it is the Warm Spectrum. Another palette that is a favorite of so many of us is the Kat Von D Shade and Light. And you are all familiar with this palette. This palette is neutral. You can wear it to work. You could use it to accessorize some other palettes. You have your warms, you have your cool, you can mix and match, and incredible longevity. there may be others that copy it, but there's no other really like this Kat Von D Shade and Light. It is one of my favorites, and another one that I took from my daughter, and I just absolutely love it, and I hope I never have to live without it. This is kind of like the new kid on the block in the world of eyeshadow palettes, and this is the Nubian 2 by Juvia's Place. They kind of call out to the wild side in me. You have incredible greens and blues, very shocking blues. You have a couple of warms. The only thing that's missing from these Juvia's Place palettes are your transitions, but that's why we have our Shade and Light palette. So we use our transitions from here, and then we do our pops of colors or the shades on the lids. I love using that green, I love using that blue, and even these burgundies or the orange. Beautiful palette, very pigmented. The color will stay on. Let me just warn you, it doesn't come off that easily. They hang on. This is a real oldie but goodie, and it is the Tartelette palette. It is a nice little palette. This one is all mattes. One of the nice things about this palette is that you have a black, oops, the other way. You have your black, you have your transitions, you have some mauves, really pretty shades. Again, they last all day and they are so blendable, and whatever look you create, and you can create many looks with this palette, they're all going to look beautiful. Something nice that Tarte does is that it makes it very easy. If you are just a beginner, you could just use the shades going either down the line, or you could just go across, and it makes it very easy to work with. Something to keep in mind. Of course, no top 10 favorites could leave the Modern Renaissance out. I think that this is a favorite of so many of us. It is such a beautiful palette where you can create so many beautiful looks. You have your pops of colors, those reds, and you have your transition. It's really a palette that has everything, and while it doesn't have a black, you do have a very deep brown right up here. You all know that I love the Persona, and I stuck my nail in one of the pans, but I love this palette. You know that it is really truly one of my favorites, and it's actually the one that, depending on when this video goes up, the one that I'm taking to Scotland or the one I took to Scotland. I love it. You have a nice mixture of shimmers and mattes, and they blend beautifully. You can mix and match them and create so many looks with this small little travel friendly palette. Another little travel friendly palette that I absolutely love is this one by XQHO, and this is one of their newer ones. This is Spring in Paris, or yeah, Springtime in Paris. Another palette that looks, where it works beautifully. Something that this palette has that maybe some of the other smaller palettes do not have is that this one, you have a lot of pops of colors. You have that blue, you have a purple, and then you have your transitions. You even have a champagne kind of color that you could use all over your lid. It is truly a really nice palette, and for such a small palette. And again, all the shades work beautifully. Last but absolutely not least is the Makeup Forever, and this is the Artist 4 palette. This is only 9 shades. They are all matte. They work so well. You can create so many different looks. If you are okay not using any shimmers, you would love this palette. You have a black, you have your transitions, and then you have a couple of pops of color. Nice little travel palette. it works. It's makeup forever. It works absolutely beautiful. So those are my 10 favorite palettes that I absolutely love. I was actually able to narrow it down to 10. I had I had to think about it a little bit, but yes, these are my top 10 favorite palettes. Let me know which is your top favorite palette. Maybe you want to tell me what is 1 or 2 or 3. Let me know down in the comments area down below. I'd love to hear if there's one that I didn't mention. I would love to hear which is your favorite, and maybe it's one that I don't have in my collection and that I need to try. Thank you all so much for visiting with me today. Thank you for your comments and your support and your thumbs up. I appreciate every single one of you. And don't forget, ladies, follow your passion, whatever it may be. I'll see you next time. Bye. Try. And nothing. And absolutely nothing. And what? Why am I saying and? Maybe.